3 years. 3 unbearable years Amina Bello had lived like a shadow under Lagos bridges, eaten from dustbins, chased like an animal, her identity completely erased. Then one day, something finally broke through the darkness. A miracle, but instead of saving her life, it revealed the man behind her suffering, Kunle Adeyemi. Rain hammered down on Oshodi Bridge as Amina curled tightly against a cold concrete pillar, barefoot, trembling, starving, barely human. Nearby, Sister Esther, a church volunteer distributing food, noticed her. Unlike others, she didn't recoil. She knelt. "My dear, what is your name?" Amina only stared, empty, no memory, no voice, no identity. For weeks, Sister Esther kept returning, feeding her, washing her wounds, praying over her broken body. One night, during prayer under a small shelter, Amina suddenly convulsed, her body shaking violently as voices filled the room. Then, silence. Her eyes slowly opened, clear, present, alive. "Amina," she whispered, and just like that, the lost woman returned. Tears fell as Sister Esther believed the nightmare was finally over. The next morning, Amina could think again. Memories flooded back. Her wedding, the tiny leaking apartment, Kunle's smile, their struggles, their love. Hope overwhelmed her. She believed he would be waiting, that everything would finally make sense. She rushed to Ajegule, heart racing, but the house had changed. New curtains, new furniture, signs of sudden wealth. Her heart lifted. "It worked," she whispered. Then Kunle appeared. For a second, shock froze his face. Then fear replaced it. Not joy, not relief. Fear. "Amina," Kunle's voice cracked. She ran to him crying, but he didn't embrace her. He stepped back, cold, distant. "What are you doing here?" he whispered urgently. Confused, she said she had returned home. His grip tightened painfully on her arm. "You were supposed to complete 7 years," he hissed. Amina froze. "I've been healed," she said softly. Kunle's face twisted. No, you haven't." His eyes were no longer loving. They were calculating. "Do you want us to lose everything?" In that moment, Amina realized something horrifying. He wasn't happy she returned. He was terrified. She ruined something. The next day, Kunle dragged her back to the prayer camp. Amina cried silently the entire journey, sensing something deeply wrong. Inside the prayer camp, Prophet Jeremiah Ezekiel sat in darkness, eyes half closed, as if listening to unseen voices. After a long pause, he spoke. "The process is broken." Amina's body shook. The first years no longer count. Silence. Then the final blow. She must start again. 7 years. Amina collapsed in disbelief. She looked at Kunle, waiting for him to stop it, to choose her. He didn't. Instead, he nodded. "We've come too far." Those words shattered her completely. That night, under a cold moon outside the camp, Amina sat broken. Kunle joined her, calm now, almost gentle. "If I do this again," she whispered, shaking, "will you wait for me?" Kunle held her hands tightly. "I swear," his voice was smooth, convincing, dangerous. And she believed him. Because love sometimes blinds you more than darkness ever could. The rituals began again the next morning, but something had changed. Kunle no longer looked like a struggling husband. He looked like a man waiting for profit. Money had begun flowing into his life, fast, unexplained, powerful. New people appeared, new influence grew. And slowly, Amina became less like a wife to him and more like a sacrifice he needed to finish quickly. Somewhere in Mushin, a young man overheard a terrifying conversation. She doesn't know it's fake. She's just a tool. When she breaks again, payment complete. Before he could react, a black SUV stopped outside. Men stepped out, watching, waiting. Back at the camp, Amina sat under dim oil light, her hair being prepared again for ritual. Her eyes were fading once more. Prophet Jeremiah watched like a scientist observing something he owned. Kunle stood beside him, silent but tense. Suddenly, Amina whispered, "I remember something." The prophet's smile briefly disappeared. "Memory is the enemy," he said, sharply. "Continue." But outside the tent, someone was listening. That night, thunder shook Lagos. Rain flooded the camp. Amina sat weak and confused in a small shack behind the shrine. Then a hand touched her shoulder. "Sister Esther." "We have to go," she whispered. Amina hesitated. "I don't know you." Sister Esther cried. "They are destroying you." Amina shook her head. "I need Kunle." That sentence broke something in Sister Esther. "Kunle is not saving you. He is selling you." Amina froze. Something inside her cracked. They ran through the forest in heavy rain. Lightning flashed. Amina fell into mud, screaming, clutching her head as memories exploded. Kunle's face, the prophet, the agreement, the betrayal. "No, no," she sobbed. "Remember who you are," Sister Esther cried. "Amina Bello." And then it hit her fully. Everything. Her life, her love, her destruction. She collapsed, finally awake. Back at the camp, Kunle noticed she was gone. Panic hit instantly. The prophet's expression changed. If she remembers completely before the final ritual, everything collapses. Kunle's voice shook. "Even the money?" The prophet nodded slowly. "And worse, she will remember who truly owns it." For the first time, Kunle felt fear. Real fear. Inside a roadside church, Amina cried uncontrollably, not from madness, but truth. "I gave him my mind, my life, and he used it like currency." Sister Esther held her tightly. "No more." Amina stood slowly. Something new was forming inside her. Strength, clarity, purpose. But suddenly, her body jolted violently. Pain ripped through her head. She screamed. Somewhere in Lagos, the final ritual had begun. Drums echoed inside the prayer camp. Candles burned. The prophet raised his hands. Kunle stood beside him, shaking. "Once she breaks completely, the wealth is permanent," the prophet whispered. "And she?" Kunle asked. "She becomes nothing." Silence. Then Kunle spoke softly. "Proceed." At that exact moment, Amina opened her eyes in the church, screaming in pain. Blood ran from her nose. "It's starting," she whispered. "They are finishing it." She stood slowly, trembling. "I have to go back." Sister Esther grabbed her. "No!" Amina turned, eyes cold, fully awakened, and said, "If I don't go back now, I will lose myself forever."